So my advice to myself and all of you, have a wird from the Quran. If you're able to, the best thing is to at least do it once a month. The Prophet ﷺ complained from his people, إِنَّ قَوْمِ يَتَّخِذُ هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ مَهْجُورًا. My people have abandoned the Quran. And then it's not enough just to read it. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Don't they reflect on this Quran? Tadabbur in the Arabic language, the dubar is what's the end of something. So yatadabbar means to take it as far as you can, to really contemplate it. And that's why the other day we had that wonderful lady, Nasreen, Dr. Nasreen, who just dived deep into the Quran on the subject of bala, fitna, imtihan, tamhis, and really looked, what's the Quran tell? And she read her book and see the extraordinary cohesion of this book, even though these ayahs are all over the book. But once you actually do the work, and this is why Allah did not create robots. We're not programmed, we're not AI. Right, Omar? He's doing his thesis on AI. We're not AI. We're not programmed. The Prophet ﷺ could have been given this book of statute law. Every single thing was given. He said, Hayati khairu lakum wa mamati khairu lakum. My death is a good thing for you. Why? Because had he stayed with us, the rules would have kept coming more and more until we couldn't have handled it. So, sakata an ashya. Right? Allah was silent about many things. غير النسيان, not from forgetfulness, but from its afu. إِنَّكَ عَفُوٌ تُحِبُّ الْعَفْوَ. So this is one of the great blessings of our religion. It's not a difficult religion. Anybody can learn it. Hopefully from among you, I'm talking to students now, not the old people. From among you, we'll get some serious scholars of this religion. Right? Not everybody's meant to be. All of you, if you go to this school, we want you all to be educated Muslims, muthaqafun. Like you really know something about your religion, you can defend it, you can talk to people about it, you can explain it to people. But from among you have to be people that are willing to khud al-kitab biquwwa, to take this book, really. And many of you, I've read with some of you, and mashallah, your reading is much better than mine was when I was at your age. And inshallah, you'll go very far if you're serious. But you have to do the work. You can't be distracted by these machines and waste your time on these things. You have to do the work. And some are going to be more gifted than others. Don't be kam min arusan, kam fil ursi abha min arusan. Imam Malik said, how many women are more beautiful than the bride at the wedding? لكن للعروس الزمان سعد, but it's her day. So don't be envious for people, if Allah elevates some people, they might not be as knowledgeable as you. There are some people far more knowledgeable than I am, or other people that are more well known. But these are tribulations. Allah gives some people tribulations that He doesn't give others. And there's no Murabat al-Hajj, one of the things he told me several times, he said, "Al-dhuhur niqmatun wa kullu nas yatamannahu, wal-khumul ni'matun wa kullu nas ya'bahu." It's from Imam Ahmad. He said that many times. Like, being well known is a tribulation that people want. And he said, being in obscurity is a blessing that people refuse. So, but Ibn Ata'illah, he says, Abdullah sawa'un alayhi in adharahu Allah wa akhmalahu. If you're a true Abdullah, it's going to be the same whether he makes you well known or keeps you in obscurity. But for people to seek it is a disease in your heart. And this is an age everybody wants to be on YouTube and vlog and do all the blog and do all these. Everybody has to have an opinion about it. Everybody has to write their little, and then see how many likes they get, thumbs up. Oh, I have to have an opinion here. It's amazing. أقبل على شأنك. What are you doing? Like, I have to have this opinion. I have to let them know what I think. Even though there's 4,000 little texts on whatever that 3-minute or 2-minute thing. There's like 4,000. So you're going to add 4,001 because it's so important for you to get that information out there, just to let everybody know, I'm here, I have my opinion. You know, this is a sickness. It's a sickness. Our community, people ran away from being known for piety. If they were in a city and somebody found out that they were from the awliya, they literally left the place. They would go somewhere else. This is amazing. But now everybody has to assert themselves. Everybody has to me. You know, this is a really sick time for people. And that's why everybody's miserable. Because the more you assert yourself, the more miserable you'll get. The more that you just idfin nafsak fi ard al-khumul. You know, bury yourself in the earth of obscurity. Because nothing grows without being buried. Including your nafs. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. Allah used He used a word that's used in agriculture. You know, zakka, yazku, to grow. Like قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. Yudassi is to degrade or humiliate, but the root is to cover over, like kufr. You know, you're covering over your true self. And the true self it doesn't care about what people think. It's not out for likes. It's not out for thumbs up. The true self wants to be aligned with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why on Yawm al-Qiyamah, when the self bears witness, the hands bear witness, and people, why are you doing this to us? أَنْطَقْنِي اللَّهُ الَّذِي أَنْطَقَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ. Allah made me say it. Who makes everything speak? Like the hands are going to, I didn't want to kill that person. He made me, because the hands don't want to go to hell. The feet don't want to go to hell. The stomach doesn't want to go to hell. None of them want to go to hell. And that's why, every morning, the Prophet ﷺ said, every single part of your body is trembling and says to the tongue, Attaqillah fina. Like, fear Allah for us. Fear Allah. Don't backbite. Don't speak ill of people. Don't say things. Remember Allah. Because this is why Luqman al-Hakim, Luqman al-Hakim was an Ethiopian slave. There's a whole Luqman tradition in Arabia before Islam, but most of the ulama say it wasn't. He lived like long time, and he had these birds, and every time the bird would die, a new one would come. But Luqman al-Hakim was an Ethiopian slave. He was black and not attractive according to the tradition. But Allah gave him wisdom, as often unattractive people are given. That's what Jahil, Jahil. He said, Allah is just. So very often the most handsome people are not very smart, and the most unattractive people are often really smart. So there's always a balance. He went to the marketplace and he asked he was speaking, and this woman came and grabbed him and took him to this jeweler, and she said, just like him. And then she left, and then Jahal said, what was that about? He said, she asked me to do a medallion. She wanted to give it to a person she doesn't like with the face of shaitan. And I said, I don't know what shaitan looks like. And so she brought you and said, just like him. He had very good sense of humor, Jahal. He wrote some funny books too. But anyway, Luqman was given wisdom. That's why there's a whole chapter after him, Luqman. He was freed by his master because, first of all, he had been unjustly captured and sold into slavery. But he saw it as a tribulation from Allah. So he didn't have that kind of anger that gets into people, because he saw this as a bala from Allah. Like we had that wonderful Tobias Tubbs, 28 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit, and with no anger. Just subhanallah. So the reason that he was freed is the man asked him to sacrifice. He said, go kill a sheep and bring me the best parts. So Luqman went, he sacrificed it, and he brought him the tongue and the heart. And the man was struck by it. He said, either this man's not very smart or he's very smart. Like he didn't know. So then the next day he said, go sacrifice a sheep and bring me the worst parts. So he went and he came back with the tongue and the heart. And then he knew. And he actually freed him. But and he asked him what he said, the tongue and the heart, when they're pure, they're the best parts. But when they're foul, they're the worst parts. So may Allah purify our tongues and our hearts, inshallah, and make us people of tilawat al-Quran, inshallah. The adhkar here should be what you should be doing. This is not a devotional place in a zawiya sense. That's why I don't encourage these things, not because I'm not against them. They have their place in our religion. They're good things, they're not bad things. If they're done with the proper sunnah and adab and all these things. But this is a place of study. We have lots of people doing those type of devotions in the Muslim world. Lots of people. I guarantee you, Syria was filled with people doing these things in all the houses. But people studying, learning this deen, doing serious work, that we don't have as many. And so, you have a portion of your prayer is important, prayer on time, especially in jama'ah if you're able to make it. And then have the adhkar, the ahraz, which can be only a few minutes in the morning and the evening. But at least have a wird of the Quran. And try to do, if you can do a hizb in the morning, hizb in the evening, 15 minutes. It's not a lot of time. Do we have hufad here? How long? How long? If you're doing hadar, you can do it in 20 minutes. Yeah. So it's not a lot of time. You can do easily a hizb in 15 minutes. You could do a juz easily in 30 minutes. So just make that a practice, commit to it. Anybody who has niyyah of memorizing the Quran and does some memorization, if you die, inshallah, Allah will appoint an angel to finish your hifz in the grave, and you'll be raised up with amongst the hufad, inshallah. May Allah raise us amongst them, inshallah, make us people of the Quran. The Prophet ﷺ, his beautiful dua that he said every Muslim should learn, Allahumma ja'al al-Quran al-azim rabi'a qalbi wa noora sadri wa jala'a huzni wa dhahaba ghammi wa hammi wa ghammi. It's a beautiful dua to dispel depression, inshallah.